The acting Minister of Foreign Affairs in the Taliban caretaker government, Maulvi Amir Khan Muttaqi, hosted a delegation recently of political ambassadors in Kabul on Thursday. Muttaqi hosted the ambassadors and political representatives at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, where he was welcomed by the Deputy Minister, Mullah Baradar Akhund. Now, according to reports, the guest list included foreign envoys and representatives of international organizations from China, Pakistan, Russia, Qatar, Turkey and Turkmenistan. The agenda of this meeting was pretty evident: to project Afghanistan as an independent, sovereign and a functioning nation under the Taliban. At a time when Pakistan and China's growing influence in Afghanistan has grabbed headlines, Muttaqi spoke on a number of issues, including the Doha Agreement. Both the US and the Taliban have been accusing each other of violating the terms of this agreement.
The Doha Agreement not only paved the way for the safe withdrawal of foreign forces from Afghanistan, rather it also opened a new chapter of positive relations between the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan and the international community. We believe that the complete implementation of the Doha Agreement can iron out obstacles blocking relations between us and the United States of America.
The Taliban also claimed that Afghanistan does not want to be a sacrificial goat of competition, among others. He also highlighted Afghanistan's geopolitical, historical and civilizational significance. Muttaqi also assured foreign delegates that the Taliban would protect the economic projects that are currently underway in Afghanistan.
The Islamic Emirate will use all tools at its disposal to play a beneficial role in regional economic cooperation. We have preparations for the completion of TAPI, CASA 1000 and other such projects, and believe that as an economic corridor, Afghanistan has the capacity to help in bringing about great economic change in the region.
But what was missing in Muttaqi's speech were issues that concern the average Afghan: women's education and women's rights, hunger crisis that is looming, and of course the self-evident economic catastrophe, public executions. The Taliban's foreign minister conveniently failed to address any of these grave issues. But the Taliban's attempts to paint themselves as a functioning and fair government have failed to convince even their well-wishers. Qatar, which facilitated talks between the Taliban and the US, has now warned that the hardline Islamist rulers in Kabul should not take regressive steps.
Just regarding the recent actions that we have seen, unfortunately, in Afghanistan, it has been very disappointing steps to see some steps being taken backward. We need to keep engaging and urging them not to take such an action, and we've been also trying to demonstrate for Taliban as Muslim country how Muslim countries can conduct their laws, how they can deal with the women issues.
He also advised the Taliban leadership to look towards Qatar as an example of how a Muslim state could operate. In their previous rule in the 1990s, the Taliban had barred girls and women from going to schools, seeking jobs and even the public life at large.
We have one of the examples is the state of Qatar, which is a Muslim country. In our constitution, our system is an Islamic system, while we have women outnumbering men in workforces in government and the higher education. So it's very important for the Muslim countries to show good examples for Taliban in order to avoid any mistreatment for the women or misusing of Sharia law.
The Taliban's actions have once again been contrary to their words when it comes to friendly relations with neighbors. This after reports emerged that the Taliban are now amassing troops along the Tajik border. According to the Taliban's own information, tens of thousands of Afghan Special Forces fighters have been deployed along the border. Tajikistan has refused to recognize the Taliban-appointed cabinet in Kabul and has lashed out at what they describe as violation of human rights in the Taliban siege of the Panjshir province. Russia, meanwhile, has urged both sides to exercise restraint. Now, Anas Malik, our correspondent, joins us live from Kabul, Afghanistan for more details on the Taliban's recent maneuver. Anas, thanks for joining us. Now, it seems that the Taliban is making a strong diplomatic outreach by meeting these foreign envoys in a bid, in a sense, to legitimize its government and perhaps also attract investment into the flailing economy. Tell us more.
Absolutely, Priyanka, you rightly mentioned this was the first official contact or reach out to the diplomatic community by the Taliban since their takeover, since the 15th of August. But it comes with a pinch of salt. It does mention a greater emphasis on the Doha deal, on the Doha agreement. There are 2 paragraphs on it. It says that if Doha deal is implemented in letter and spirit, then it would pave way to iron out issues between the United States and the Taliban. That is one part of it. The other part is it was more of the other part is a repetition of what we heard from the previous government or from the Ghani government as well. The foreign policy objectives that they tried to lay out by emphasizing on TAPI, on CASA 1000, on the economic corridor. These are the same lines that we had been hearing earlier as well from the government of President Ashraf Ghani, whether at home or whether when they used to go abroad. Additionally, if I talk to you more about this particular meeting, it saw special envoys, it saw different ambassadors and ambassadors of countries, those who are present. So this, in Kabul, this was more of a diplomatic outreach on the part of the Taliban. Whereas one thing that is very significant, when to my left, where the Afghan Foreign Ministry is, where this meeting was ongoing, when this lavish dinner was being given, just 4 hours from here in Jalalabad and in Kunur, people were literally selling their children in order to counter their food hunger. Something that the Taliban have to look inwards, because at this point of time, one thing that reeks is for the fact that there is desperation that reeks in for legitimization from the international community on the part of the Taliban. Priyanka?
Right. Anas, now can this move also be viewed as an effort by the Taliban to project its government as independent and stable in a sense?
Well, absolutely. This is a move to basically project itself independent of different regimes or from the influence of different countries. This is what the Taliban tried to show by inviting all of these envoys. But it would take quite of a time, because for the longest of the time periods, different countries in the region, be that be Iran or be that be Pakistan, they have been accused of peddling with the Taliban. So therefore, this move would be looked at in that manner. However, it would take a lot of time for the Taliban to actually convince the international community in letter and spirit that they are indeed fiercely independent. Priyanka?
Anas, thank you so much for all those inputs, and thank you for joining us from Kabul, Afghanistan at this hour. WION World is One is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.